The civil society group Outa has called on government to liquidate South African Airways instead of investing more money into the failed airline. Now, this comes after government last week pledged 10.5 billion rand into the ailing national carrier. For more on this, I'm joined by Outa's manager for public governance, Julius Kleynhans. A very good afternoon to you, sir, and thank you for your time this afternoon. Well, it looks like Minister Ngubeni has literally thrown in the gloves as far as the fight to not bail out SAA once again. And Minister Pravin Gordhan is saying, come hell or high water, they will be financing to the tune of about 10.5 billion rand. Exactly when, we don't know. But your reaction to that?
Thanks, Thami. Yeah, I think, you've said it very well. It's a failed state-owned entity, and it's going to be very silly, actually, to try and resuscitate it. We've seen it's been failing for a number of years now, costing the taxpayer billions. And now, just to cover the debt is around 25 billion rand, and then you still have to do some proper and reasonable severance packages for those staff component, obviously, losing their jobs in the process. And that is, unfortunately, the sad case of years of maladministration that we're seeing now. However, difficult decisions need to be made in our economy right now, and we need to start seeing drastic changes. I think if the Minister Pravin Gordhan still fulfilled the role that Minister Ngubeni is filling today, he would have taken the same position. So we're not surprised about the Minister's stance on this. It's his job to ensure that SOEs are working. But we believe this is a long shot, and that SA needs to be liquidated now.
And why do you as Outa believe that the liquidation of South African Airways is a better, more profitable and more expedient option than actually resuscitating the state-owned airline?
Look, unfortunately, I don't think there's a real big win in this situation. It's going to cost around 27 billion rand just to settle the debt and cover the expenses for severance packages. But it is the better decision to make, because if you try and resuscitate it, you'll need an additional 6.5 billion rand just for operational costs. And we've seen already that they are projecting losses for the first 3 years. And I think people need to know that airline industry is a cutthroat industry. It's very competitive. The lower airfares are doing much better. And, you need to start looking from a government point of view on how you can turn South Africa's economy around. We don't believe airfare is the right focus area at this moment. And we also believe that, the good staff of SAA that contributes a lot will still have opportunities where those holes will be filled through other competitive spaces. So I think it will be a responsible decision to make from government's point of view to liquidate and move on. And I think the burden and the cost for the taxpayer in the long run is going to be much less if SAA is liquidated, instead of trying to resuscitate it and making the same mistakes over and over again.
Are you then, Julius, advocating for a complete scrapping of a national airline, or do you have other propositions on the table?
Look, we still also need to see the cards of the minister. We've heard a lot. We haven't seen a lot. It's difficult to think that investors will just come and take over SAA by throwing money at it. I think especially with the markets at the moment also being slow, with COVID-19 still being a reality. But yeah, if government wanted a hand in it, we would definitely recommend that they take the option of maybe a 25% shareholding in that space, and let private sector take over. These guys are focused on making lucrative businesses. They don't believe in bailouts, because that's not what's supposed to happen. And also, then government can still have its stake and hopefully invest in something that can give them a return instead of just throwing money at it. We've seen business in SAA fail time and time again under government supervision. So if they had a minority stake in, you must also keep in mind that South Africans have to be the majority investor. That doesn't mean that government has to be the majority stakeholder. And I think, a good example was most probably Telkom, which went this kind of a same course. But at the end of the day, what we need from government is to actually make it better and easier for business and South Africans and entrepreneurs to take and seize opportunities right now to turn the economy around. Instead of government trying to steer the ship, we need them to actually make it easier for everyone else to stimulate the economy.
Would Outa not see the SAA situation in the same light as the Eskom situation, the sense that perhaps it's internal reconfiguration of operation that would lead then to a profitability as opposed to completely burying the entities?
Thami, yeah, look, there's some infrastructure that can be used, but SAA, yeah, it's difficult to compare the two. Both of them are extremely under debt. We believe that, you need to start creating better competitive spaces as well. And what's concerning is if government, embarks on a journey, it does. And look, there's certainly hope in the Eskom scenario, and we see some good things happening. But you need alternatives. You need to start giving business and private sector the opportunity to also invest and participate in that and make it more competitive so that obviously, your prices need to come down and we want to have a nice and lucrative environment, but also where good customer service takes place. Eskom has a very long road to take and a lot of debt to get out of, and we just don't see them succeeding very soon.